For example, women getting equal pay in the job force. Who doesn't really believe in that? I believe that's true, but everybody always says it, but they never give examples of where it's actually true. I mean, tell me where, and I will go be the first person to say, you know, he should be getting paid what he is. But all we keep coming up is women make 83 cents for every dollar. I don't even know what that means. I mean, do they have for the exact same job? Is it the exact same job they're doing? They're getting 83 cents, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they're sick more, so they get down. All this stuff we argue about that nobody really gives specific examples for. I'm like, let's fix it. Inequalities. Children inequalities. If you pick apart the word inequality, inequality tells you how things are not equal, by the way. How they are not equal. And there's this one little thing in math, your book doesn't say it, but I'm going to throw it out there because it makes complete sense to me. There's what we call this little thing called, make this in big letters, trichotomy. Anybody know what trichotomy is?
Three.
Thank you. Three what? Yeah, I don't know what cotomy is either, but it's something about three cases. It means this. Let me see. If I give you this, see if you can figure this out if I give you this. If you have two numbers, comma, what do you suppose is what of the rest I'm going to say?
You have two numbers.
Three things are possible. That's where the try comes. Three things are possible. And again, if you don't know maybe where I'm going here, think of three. Now, let's say I have 18 and 6. Or let's say I have 5 and 12. Or let's say I have 6 and 6. Three sets of groups of numbers. When you compare, I should say if you compare. How about that? Let's change have to compare, and that'll make it all clear to you. If you compare two numbers, only three things are possible. Nobody's jumping on this yet. Either the first is greater than the second, the first is less than the second, or the first is equal to the second. And every combination there, but then, yeah, all right. So that's where we come up with the first is greater than second, the first less than the second, or the first equal to the second. Now, can somebody give me an example of that that doesn't fit in one of those three categories? Go ahead, give me two numbers where that is not true of one of them. I've got all day, I can wait. Yeah, you can't, because that's just the way it is. Now, you have to remember that there's a whole bunch of different combinations of that. You know, think about all the inequality signs. You've got the greater than sign, you've got the less than sign, you've got the equal than sign, but then there's combos of those. You've got the greater than or equal to sign, you've got the less than or equal to sign, you've actually got this with the slash mark through it that says it's not equal to. And you also have the not greater than, not less than. You've got the not greater than or equal to, and the not less than or equal to sign. All of those are signs, but really they all boil down to the same three signs. Because of this, Parker, this is where you'll amaze and astound your friends. Let's say I've got this sign that says it's not greater than. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what you got to think, Brant. Even if your brain is still a little frozen from being out in the garage all day. Wait, were you like pushed out in the garage and somebody said, Brant, you have to go to the garage for the next 3 days? What were you doing? Working on your RC car? Did you full body off restoration? What, you rebuilt the engine? What did you do? Because that's a long time to work on.
I'm actually doing some motor right now.
I tore the whole thing apart and rebuilt it.
Was it faster? Did you put a bigger engine in it? Fuel injection? Turbocharge? Yeah, hyper or nitro. Anyways, Brant, back to this. Look, if something is not greater than, you look up at your little trichotomy thing, It's not greater. The first one is not greater than that, so it's not this one. So these other two have to be true. Not greater than is the same thing as less than or equal to, because of the trichotomy thing. You know, if it is this one, not less than or equal to, means it is not less than, it's not equal to, so it must be greater than. The whole trichotomy things, there are all three of them there. If it's not two of them, it has to be the other one. You know, if it's not one of them, it has to be the other two. So what you're going to say, so what?
So what?
Well, that's when it helps to, because you're going to get problems that sound like this. Here's a problem from the book. Okay, write this down, because this is a great one. The sum of the product of a number and negative 2, the sum of the product of a number and negative 2, oh boy, product of a number and negative 2, here's where things get all crazy, is, oh wait, and 4, alright, and 4, sorry, Altenberg, is all this making sense to you? And 4 is at least negative 8. Whew. Take a deep breath, Tyler Connor. It smells like oatmeal.
I said Cheerios.
That's because Cheerios are made of
Grains.
Oats.
Meal.
High.
Okay,
It's like
this could go south in multiple levels, so please take heed this. What I say? Heed this warning. First of all, look, Savage. Okay, the sum of what? What am I adding together? So you should probably take this apart piece by piece. I'm adding something together. I'm adding the product of a number and negative 2. How do you get the product of a number and negative 2? Product is multiplying. What am I multiplying together? Negative 2 and a number. That's the product of a number and negative 2. Okay, I'm taking that sum. What am I adding to that? Here's my 2. This is what I'm adding 4 to that. Okay. Now here's where, this is what we talked about today, is at least. You have to think about what inequality sign is the same as is at least. So you got your choices. You got greater than, less than, or equal to, or the combination of that. And here's where you have to think in your head. Think about numbers that are at least negative 8. So you think of a number that's bigger than negative 8. Okay. Could you have negative 7?
No.
Yes, because that's at least negative 8. So greater than is going to count. Could you have negative 8, which is the same thing as negative? Is negative 8 at least negative 8?
Yes.
Yes. Could you have negative 7? No, because that's not at least negative 8. So this is the inequality sign that has to go with this, because is at least means it must be greater than or equal to.
7 is greater than negative 8.
Huh? So what?
You said negative 7 both times.
Oh, I'm sorry, negative 9. I told you I was going to quit. And then what is the last thing? At least negative 8. So here's the inequality that I must solve. How do you solve inequalities? The same way as you do equations, except what things have to happen, Carter Westphal. When you do inequalities, there are 2 specific things that have to happen. First of all, the x must be, the variable must be on the left side.
Can't be negative.
And as Tyler just said, and it cannot be negative. So when I solve this, I have to keep that in mind. that they're easy fixes, but you gotta keep it organized and straight. What am I gonna do here? I'm gonna subtract 4. I'm gonna subtract 4, which gives me negative 12. Negative 2n is greater than or equal to that. How do I solve this? And this is where, Evelyn, you must be very careful. To get n by itself, what do I have to get rid of? The negative 2, correct? Inequalities, anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, the sign has to change to its opposite as well. Okay? You are making this its opposite, you're making this its opposite, you make this its opposite. By the way, the opposite of equal is equal. Divide by negative 2, that didn't make sense, but this gives you just an n. I divided by a negative, so I change the sign. I divided by a negative, that becomes 6. N is less than or equal to 6 would be your answer. I hope that's right.
Isn't it negative 6? No,
I hope that's right. If you look in the book, please say I'm right.
You're right.
I don't think it's, maybe it didn't solve it. Oh, they didn't solve it. Why would they not solve it? Do you see the answer?
Because they just wanted to say you're right.
Well,
The
If
book
there's
just
no
says
problem.
Mr. Hans, right?
It says the
There's no
solution is the sum of the
answer,
product.
Mr. Hunt gave you wrong.
What are you talking about? All right, write this one down. 3x minus 6 is less than or equal to negative 30. 3x minus 6 is less than or equal to negative 30. This one is a piece of cake. You could look at this right now and say, is my sign going to change? It is not. It's not going to change because the x is on the right side and it's already positive. The only time it changes is if you have to move the x from one side to the other or blah, blah, blah. So you add 6. What is negative 30 plus 6?
Negative 24.
Negative 24. I have 3x, not a negative 3x. I divide by 3. I divide by 3. X less than or equal to negative 8. This would get you a MAPS point, because I'm sure they have negative inequalities there. How about this one? 6 is greater than x plus 8. What's the issue with this one?
Variables on the right side.
Variables on the wrong side. What's the fix?
You swap
No.
the numbers, we also have to
Yeah,
change
there's a couple different ways you can think about this. You can solve this for x first and get rid of the 8. You end up with a negative 2. Sorry. This isn't here. And then, if you move this and flip these things, the sign is going to change as well. Why? Because look at, remember this guy's an alligator, and the alligator's eating the bigger one? Just because the x comes over here doesn't make it smaller than the other thing. So the alligator's still going to eat the x. So you put the x here, you put the negative 2 there, and the alligator still likes the x because the x is still bigger. Ta-da!
No.
You could have also done it like this. Take a look, Wade. Way you could have approached this is I could subtract my x over here. Subtract x over here, and then add 2 to get it over here, and add 2 to get over there. But look what I have. Negative x is less than that. Divide by a negative, change the sign, divide by a negative. You still get the same thing. So this is just as easy to think about that. You are asking for one on your own. Ready? Let's see how good you are. I am tired.
Not good enough.
I am tired of your condescending attitude. Ready? Ooh. Ooh. Oh, they don't solve them though. Write each quality as a sentence. I want to solve them. Look at lesson practice, 284, page 284. Which one do you want to solve? That's not what?
E.
E. No, I want to do A, B, C, or D. Which one? Yes, letter B. I want you to solve letter B. Do letter B right now. Letter B. Letter B. Letter B. 0 is less than or equal to the difference of twice a number and 8. I have the utmost in confidence in you. Very interesting.
Oh, I did the wrong sign.
Did it open your eyes?
It did.
Wait, what's the over under on people who got it right or wrong?
Sorry.
Yeah. Up too late playing video games, weren't you? Wait, raise your hand if you play video games in your bedroom. Oh boy.
That's what my.
I'd say that was right. Raise your hand if you've played video games even though your parents said you probably shouldn't.
This weekend or just in general?
Mom said get off it so I could.
So, getting back to my looking at the pros and cons of video games. Video games are another avenue that you disobey your parents in. Breaking many commandments. And
That's why I do not want to have TVs in my house when I grow up. Or
that's a good idea.
we have them work with cattle and stuff.
Carter, then you can't watch Fox News.
I'll bet you. Yeah.
I'll have one TV.
Hidden.
You could watch Fox News on one side and CNN on the other and see which one you think is right.
Carter's gonna have 2 box TVs in his closet, just away from his family.
Alright, the answer you got, Evelyn, what'd you get?
N is greater than or equal to 4.
10 is greater than or equal to 4. Is that what you got? Parker? What'd you get, Parker? Just say your answer. I don't know if she's right or wrong. I actually don't have the answer. Huh? Savage?
N is greater and or equal to negative.
Negative
Did I
4.
do something
Wade?
wrong? No, I got that.
Who got the negative 4?
No, I got 4.
Who got 4?
I support my.
Wow. Well, you gotta have greater or less than. You get the, 0 is less than or equal to. 0 is less than or equal to what? A difference. Difference, what's the difference? Twice a number and 8.
2 and minus 8.
Ah!
Twice a number and 8, the difference. So, to do this, I would subtract my 2n. Now notice the sign doesn't change when you add or subtracting, it's only multiplying or dividing. So now I get negative 2n equals negative 8, I'm sorry, less than or equal to 8. I divide by negative 2, which means sign changes, divide by negative 2, I get positive 4. N is greater than or equal to positive 4.
I did that differently, but I got the same answer.
You can,
Oh,
there's
yeah, I
multiple,
flipped it first.
there's multiple ways,
Yeah.
it don't matter. As long as you follow the same rules. That's good.